revelation of The World Ends With You solo remix is one of the biggest mishandlings of a beloved new series that I can recall in recent memory. The idea of an entire week countdown to reveal an overpriced port of a masterful title considered by many to be the last good game by Square Enix in years was a surefire way to both anger and disappoint loyal The World Ends With You fans who were hoping to see a sequel come out of this development, myself included. However, in this case, this was also partially on us, the fans, to blame for overhyping the countdown, seeing how Tetsuya Nomura is still occupied with work on Versus 13, so obviously he wouldn't have time to work on another big project. But, more specifically, I find myself to blame for drumming up the hype for a sequel. I made two videos, one about the possibility of a sequel to this DS gem, and the other as to what I'd like to see, if or when a sequel is made. So for causing that, to all my fellow viewers, I give you my most sincere and humble apologies for all that I have done. That being said, Square Enix is in no way innocent of not expecting their loyal fans to become overhyped and disappointing them, and should have known better than to set up a counter to something that could have easily have just been revealed by formally announcing it. In order to understand how much of a mistake was made in these 7 days, let's put things into perspective. This year, Namco Bandai, Capcom, and Sega announced a secret joint project between all three of them. Nobody knew what it would be, so naturally everybody was curious as to see what it would be. Some people got really interested in it. I personally didn't care for it that much, as it seemed like it would just be another Capcom fighter like the recent Tekken X Street Fighter. Then there was a site that, just like Square's, counted down for a set period of time and revealed a shocking trailer. A crossover that was a simulation RPG called Project Crosszone. It was an unexpected, out-of-nowhere choice for this massive trio, and after seeing it, I went from not very interested to completely interested. Need another example? Well, how about we take a visit from an old friend? Yeah, I've talked about this game to death, but there's a few things that I failed to mention in my History of Shantae video. Several issues before the game was teased, Matt Bozum was interviewed, in which he not only talked about experimenting with DSiWare, but he was apparently working on, and I quote, an as-of-yet unannounced 2D platformer for DSiWare, end quote. In a following issue, Nintendo Power revisited the original Shantae, discussing the quality of the title, and the history of a follow-up on the Game Boy Advance that never happened. On the last page of that same issue, they teased a mystery game that no one had heard of. Next issue, of course, was the big revelation. Shantae, Risky's Revenge. All of that subtle hinting at a sequel is not taken into account the way the debut trailer cleverly revealed the title and was in of itself build-up to its release, along with the free soundtrack that revealed the title's release date, giving time for anticipation for the title to build up for its launch. Something that Square Enix once again failed to do so, as Solo Remix was released the next day, much to a scorn of angry fans. Oh, and did I mention that Shantae Risky's Revenge also came out for iOS? Unlike Square, however, WayForward was smart to just announce it would be coming out to a new platform, thus allowing a wider audience to experience it, thus increasing the possibility of another installment. They were also smart not to price it at $18 for the iPhone and $20 for the iPad, which is just completely ludicrous. Considering that most apps on the iTunes Store rarely go for more than a few bucks, this is just a greedy, foolish decision from a business perspective, not to mention it wastes resources on an inferior port that could have been simply ported on an HD console with some thoughtful control variations. Or, they could have ported it to the Wii U as a test for online titles and could give some people an incentive to invest in a console that many remain speculative about. It couldn't be a more perfect fitting title to demonstrate the controller. Now, not all I have to say about Solo Remix is negative because 1, it will allow a larger audience to experience the title, and 2, at the end of the day, what's done is done and nobody can change that. Personally, I doubt many casual or hardcore iOS owners will be willing to invest $20 in a title which they could probably find the original and superior port for the DS at the same price. I also doubt that Square will learn from this mistake because of the tweet by Brian Gray did little more than hide the truth, not to mention many people who love The World Ends With You certainly did not appreciate hearing that yet another handheld title is migrating towards the ever-growing casual iPhone App Store. If you're going to build up anything, whether it's a revelation for a new product or a plot twist in a film, there has to be some form of worthwhile payoff for the audience who is paying attention to it, and unfortunately, an HD port for the iPhone and iPad that cost almost $20 did not justify setting up a new site and teasing fans who would no doubt be watching the company's every move to find out what it was and would ultimately be disappointed by the end result. The World Ends With You was released in 2008, and Square has yet to release anything more than another version of the original, and occasional teases from Tetsuya Nomura's comments which only serve to amplify the disappointment. 999, on the other hand, which, if you don't know, is a DS cult hit that was released in 2010, already has a sequel called Zero Escape Escape coming out this year in October for us North Americans. I'm not here to argue about which game is more popular or deserved a sequel, and for the record, I will be giving Zero Escape a shot in October, but when it comes to recognition, The World Ends With You is far more well known, and in many ways, more demanding for an expansion of that series' universe. After 4 years of building a dedicated fan base, and their clever appearance in Kingdom Hearts 3D, which further introduced more people to the franchise, and the countdown gaining a lot of people's attention, Square Enix missed a golden opportunity that they may never get again. Despite the resentment that I share with many of you for their choice in revealing a mere port in such a way, I still remain faithful that in due time, we will see Jupiter and Square deliver The World Ends With You 2. Let's just hope it doesn't take Nomura and crew 6 years to make it.
Why? What the hell?!